All right. Hello, it's Jane here. I'm going to lead you through a Yoga 2 class, and this is going to be focusing on some hip opening as well as a lot of fun balances. So we're going to start kneeling, and if you can't quite just sit flat on your heels like this, then you might want to grab a block and sit with the block between your ankles. Then you can sit on it like that. Or if that really doesn't work for you, you can just take this in a cross-legged position like this in Sukhasana. So we'll start just by finding our breath. So you can take your hands in your lap, close your eyes, deep breath in through the nose, and deep breath out. Finding the length of the spine, inhaling, rising up. Relaxing the hips, relaxing the shoulders on the exhale. And once more, inhaling deeply and letting go. So you can set intentions for your practice today. Finding our center, finding more balance. Really finding a blend of openness in the hips especially with that low belly strength. You can open the eyes. All right, so let's just begin to roll the shoulders, just warming up the upper body a little bit. You can move with your breath here. Inhaling up, exhaling back and down. Okay, and then we'll take our hands to a cactus shape, and we're going to be doing a vertical cat-cow, so a seated cat-cow. So we're going to inhale and draw shoulder blades down the back. We're arching our back here. And then on your exhale, I'd like you to round your spine, see if you can press the palms, maybe even the elbows come together. And then drawing your sits bones forward on the heels. So you want to find a really strong tuck of the tailbone underneath you. This is how we're going to find that drawing in of the low belly. Okay, so with your breath, inhaling, shoulder blades down the back. Exhaling, press, tuck. So continuing like that, and that would just look similarly if you're seated. Try to keep the space between your shoulders and your ears relaxed as possible. You can start to get a little tired there. We'll do a few more rounds. Really using that exhale to expel the breath as you draw the belly back. Okay, one more. And release your hands by your sides. Okay, inhale, squeeze shoulders straight up to the ears. And then as you exhale through the mouth, drop the shoulders. And again, inhale, squeeze. And exhale, drop. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, drop. All right. Interlace your hands behind your back now. Start to draw your shoulder blades together and put your elbows back behind you. And then you might be able to start straightening the elbows a little bit. You won't straighten them all the way necessarily unless you're quite limber in the shoulders. So just finding that lift of the chest. If you're seated, it could look the same way. Or even just bringing the hands behind you, hands turned, kind of corkscrewed out, and then just lifting the heart here can be a really nice modification. All right, and then for the sides of the neck, I'm going to open through there real quick. So if you're seated and you can comfortably take the hands interlaced, then swing the fists around to the left side of your waist here, still trying to draw those elbows towards one another behind you, and then just drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. And you should feel this really nice big opening through the side of the neck and top of that right shoulder. Seated could look the same here. Okay, or you could simply hold the left shin. Oh, that would be for that side. Oops, hold the right shin and drop over. So we want to have that right shin in front. And don't be too aggressive with this. Just really let gravity do the work. You're just dropping the head to the side. Okay, and then gently release, going to second side. So if you're seated, cross the ankles the other way. So you're holding the ankle that's in front and drop over. Okay, or that slightly more intense version. Fists come around to the right side, drop ear to the right. Again, just letting the weight of the head drop. No forcing, no pressing. Just find a release. And then letting that go. All right, let's press back to downward facing dog. Spreading fingers wide, press through the hands, turning the armpits towards one another, and let the head stay hanging. So we keep all of that relaxation that we just created in the neck, in the jaw, letting go. You might like to pedal the feet side to side, starting to open up through the backs of the legs a bit more. Okay, and then walk your feet up to your hands, taking a standing forward bend. Feel free to bend the knees a bit if you need. And again, letting the weight of the head go. And so this might look like a ragdoll hang if that's more comfortable for you. Knees bent, spine rounded. But again, just letting the tension of your spine really just drop off your head. Okay, and then everybody bend your knees. So we're in that ragdoll now. And I'd like you to curl up through the spine, starting with that tuck of the tailbone. So belly draws back, tailbone drops towards the heels. Feel the lower belly scoop in and up. Drop the tailbone, stack vertebra upon vertebra, so the head is the last thing to come up. And then sweep the arms over the head on the inhale, and bring the hands into the heart. Okay, let's go through a sun salute. Arms over the head, inhaling. Exhale, fold forward. Step both feet back, plank position. Big breath in, wide chest. And then exhale, lower to your belly. Cobra, elbows drawn in by your sides, shoulder blades back and down, long, easy neck. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in here. So as we turn the triceps in towards one another underneath us, we make that little bit of space between the shoulders and the neck so that the neck can be free. But you're not simply slumping the weight of your rib cage towards your hands. I do want you to press the floor away and lengthen the hips up and back. And then walking the feet to the hands, again standing forward bend. Feet should be parallel. And then this time bend the knees, push from a strong belly into your feet and come up with a straight back. Inhale, arms overhead, and exhale, hands to heart. All right, now we'll take a standing side stretch. Feet parallel, belly in and up. Let's take the arms up overhead and interlace in Temple Mudra. So all the fingers except for the index are interlaced. Index finger points up. Again, draw triceps in towards one another and keep the core engaged. Come up and over to the right. Inhale, come back up. Strong legs, strong belly. Exhale over. Inhale up. We'll do it again. Exhale over. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Inhaling up. Good. And then releasing hands to heart. We'll go through a flow again. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Step to your plank pose. Inhaling there. Exhale, elbows right in by your sides. You might like to take chaturanga and up dog now, inhaling. And press through the hands, downward facing dog. Breathing there. Really deep, full, voluminous breaths. Right, and then on your inhale, take your right leg up to the sky and step the foot forward between the hands. Back knee comes down. And we'll take the arms forward and up overhead for a low crescent lunge. Again, finding that little bit of the tuck of the tail, not so much from the glutes, but from that drawing in and up in the lowest part of the abdomen. Armpits back, thumbs back. Lengthen up to the pinkies. And then exhale, hands coming down, stepping to your plank pose, inhaling, wide chest. Exhale, elbows in, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Triceps in, press the floor away. Tailbone up and back. And then the left leg goes up, inhaling as it rises. Exhale, step foot between the hands. Back knee comes down, take the arms forward and up overhead. Again, we're in that crescent shape. And think about trying to get the biceps back beside the ears, but keep the neck relaxed. Lower belly drawing in and up. One more breath here, lift the heart, and as you exhale, place the hands on the floor. Step to plank, chest is wide, neck is long. Keep that space between the neck and the shoulders as you flow through your vinyasa, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look between the hands. You can step or hop feet to hands, come to your flat back on the inhale, folding in on the exhale, rising up, inhale, and hands to heart. Let's continue to flow. Really move with your breath. Exhale. Plank pose, inhaling. Exhale, elbows right in by your sides. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. All right, flow forward to your plank again. And we're going to come down onto our belly and come into a Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx, your elbows and your forearms are on the ground, and your forearms are parallel. So elbows are just in underneath the shoulders. And then tops of the feet are really pressing into the floor. The quadriceps are firm. So your kneecaps might even hover a little bit up off the ground. That's how strong your quads are. And then imagine you're doing that same little tuck of the tailbone like you did in the seated position. And we're trying to bring our belly a little bit lighter up away from the ground. Okay, and then this next core move is a pretty strong one, so it'll be challenging if you're new to it. That's all right, just have a sense of humor. So press into the forearms. We're on the tops of the feet, and we're going to hover up and then back down. So this is our exhale. We're going to hollow out the front of the body, and then inhale back down, shoulders back, long neck. Exhale, the tail tucks, and inhale down. So a common way to do this incorrectly is to just lift the butt up, right? But we really want that kind of burying of the tailbone under. So it's almost like you can look more at your pelvis, but your ribs are coming away from your view. So as you tuck, ribs come away from your view, pelvis stays in your view. Okay, you should be feeling that now. Let's do it again, one more. And inhale, and rest. Take your hands by your sides. You can shake your hips side to side just to relax that low back. Okay, go back to child's pose, again resting. And downward dog. Good. So that sensation in the abdomen of drawing in is actually somewhat present in your down dog. And if you're really tight, you're always going to be focusing on really lifting the seat and bringing your chest towards your feet. But that can be overdone. We do want to feel a little bit of navel to spine and front ribs drawing in this position. So that's going to be especially important for you if you're somebody who has a little bit of too much mobility, a little bit like me. This is my advice that I need. So keep things strong. Okay, good. And then walk feet to hands. Fold in over the legs. Bend the knees, rising up. Inhale. And exhale. Hands to heart, continuing. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, folding forward. Step it back, plank. By the way, in your vinyasa, you can always continue to come down onto your belly and take that cobra pose if the chaturanga up dog is too much, especially if it's painful in the lower back. Okay, so meeting up in the downward dog. Okay. Let's bring the right leg up. Inhale. Stepping foot between hands. Exhale. We're going to keep that back leg lifted now. Back thigh is firm. Plant the left hand down and bring the right arm up. Just take a nice twist. Really press into that bottom arm, shoulder blades down the back. And then looking up to the top thumb. And try to keep the shoulders away from the ears, the neck home. Okay, and then we're going to release that right hand down on the inside, the big toe side of the right foot. And you're going to heel toe that right foot out to the right. And then let's allow that back knee to come down and just melt the hips down and forward. So you want to have a good amount of distance between your front leg and back leg so that you're in the lunge here, your hips are not up. So you can walk the back knee back to find that stride. And as we do this, I want you to keep the posture in the upper body. So chest up, neck is long. All right, and then, I know some of you maybe have come down to your elbows, but come back up onto your hands here for this one. Wrists under shoulders as if you're doing plank. So spread the fingers, press into the hands, and we're gonna squeeze the right shoulder and the knee into one another. Keep that, and then tuck the back toes, lift the back thigh. So we're finding that stretch in the hips, but accompanying it with all of that strength and the stability. So it's not an easy balance to strike, but that's kind of a magic recipe we're going for in the body. All right, and then strong arms, press to downward facing dog. Just step that right foot back. And pedal through the feet. And then settling into your down dog. One more breath. Okay, and then left leg to the sky. Inhale it up. Exhale, place the foot between the hands. Okay. Firming up the back quad, so we're in the lunge with the back leg straight. Plant the right arm, left arm goes up. And finding that strength in the wingspan across your heart. Shoulder blades down the back. Looking up to that top thumb if it feels comfortable in your neck. Good. And then we'll release that top hand down. Heel toe the left foot out to the left so you've got space for your hands to be right under your shoulders. Keep shoulders away from the ears, the neck is long. Okay, and then you can bring that back knee down so we can just take a moment to melt and find some release through the hips. If you took any variations, do that on this side too. And keep the breath really full here. All right, and then we're gonna draw the left knee into the shoulder, resist with the shoulder so they kind of squeeze each other there, and then tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Okay, and notice if you've got all your strength in your limbs, and see if you can bring a little more strength right into your center, into your core. So tailbone towards the back heel, the belly draws in slightly, and the front ribs draw in slightly. You've got your abdominals on. Okay, and from that strength, you can press into your hands and step that left foot back. It's not an easy transition. So coming into your down dog, pressing back. Okay, gliding forward to plank, inhale, exhale, lower to your belly. Let's take a little cobra now. I'm just going to lift up into those cactus style arms. So actually, this is a little different. Fingertips to the floor, but we still have the elbows wide. We're going to lift up into that kind of wide cobra. It's similar to the cactus, but actually our fingers are down. All right, and then we're going to just look over our right shoulder, back to center, and look over the left. Inhale, center, exhale, right. Inhale, center, exhale, left. Good, and then lowering down, and turn your face to the other direction. I don't know if you turned it one way earlier. Give your lower back a chance to rest. Okay, back to child's again. Lower back resting. Okay, and downward dog. Okay, so now bringing that right leg up, and we're going to go for that kind of scorpion tail shape. So letting that right hip stack up over the left one and going for height. Really reach up through those toes. And then as if you could trace a line on the ceiling over to the left, you're going to keep the leg long but keep it going over, over, over. Keep the knee high and then just drop the heel. So coming into that hip flexor, really that standing leg gets a lot more stretch as well. And as if you're still doing that cobra variation on the fingertips, feel the hollowing of the armpits. And then re-square the legs and step the right foot between the hands. Good, allow that back knee to come down. Sweep the arms forward and up over the head. A little back bend there. Exhale the hands to the mat and step to downward dog. We'll do the other side, so the left leg goes up. We want to go for that lift through the hips, so going for height, allowing the hips to come off square. Trace a line on the ceiling over to the right, so you're getting more stretch through the hip flexor. And then you can allow the knee to bend, heel to drop, but the knee stays high. Now notice if you're laying down into the armpits, especially that right side, and I want you to press into the fingers a little bit more than the heels of the hands, and draw the armpits away from the ground slightly. You might also feel this as the rib cage coming together in front a little bit. All right, and then re-square. Inhale, step foot between hands. Get back knee comes down. We'll take that crescent again. You might like to take just a little more back bend this time. Inhale, and exhale, hands to the mat. All right, vinyasa if you'd like, or you can rest in child's pose or downward dog. Moving with the breath. Okay. So now, let's take the flow between plank and down dog. So we're going to come forward, shoulders over the wrists. This is going to be the inhale, and then exhaling back. And what we're looking for is the appropriate distance between the wrists and the feet, so that as you come forward, shoulders are right over the wrists. Okay. All right, and then from downward dog, let's bring the right leg to the sky. Inhale there. Exhale, we're going to tuck the knee into the chest. And again, find that roundness in the spine. So really going for that hollowed position. Press into the hands. Good, and then again, inhale, three-legged. Exhale, tuck. Once more, inhale, reach. Exhale, tuck. Good, inhale, up, and finally step the foot between the hands. ground the back foot down. We're coming to warrior one, so you have heel to heel alignment, and sweeping the arms up over the head. So in your warrior one, you're turning your hips towards square, but don't fret if they're a little bit off to the side, that's okay. And then press into the pinky edge of the back foot. So you might feel a sense of lift in the inner arches of the feet a little bit here, kind of a zipping up through the inseams. Okay, and then with the arms overhead, the armpits coming back, I want you to keep the tiniest bit of that hollow feeling through the front here, even as you curl up from the heart. All right, and then releasing the hands back down, and you can vinyasa if you'd like, or you can go right to the downward facing. Okay. So then we'll come into that core exercise on the other side, the three-legged dog and tuck. So you want to find that distance from feet to hands. So if you come forward to your plank, your shoulders are not going forward of your wrists. Okay, left leg comes up. Inhale. Exhale. Tuck and hollow, hollow, hollow. Inhale. Three-legged. Exhale. Tuck the tailbone. Tucks the ribs. Draw in. Inhale again, reach, exhale, tuck. One more, inhale, reach, exhale, tuck. Good, and this time we step the foot between the hands. Okay, back foot grounds down, heel to heel alignment, warrior one. Chest faces the front. Okay, sealing down the outer edge of the back foot especially, but both feet really. The inner arches slightly lift, and I want you to feel that in the inseams, translating up into that pelvic floor as well. Armpits back, biceps back towards the ears. The neck, easy. So soften the jaw, soften the neck. Balancing the lift of the heart with the drawing in of the rib cage and the drawing in and up of the belly. Okay, and then release hands to the mat. You can vinyasa if you'd like, or step right to your downward facing. All right. Let's bend the knees. Step or hop between the hands. Flat back on your inhale, and exhale, fold. Rising up, inhale, and exhale, hands to the heart. And we'll go again, inhale, up, exhale, fold, and plank. Chaturanga. In your chaturanga, feel all that core strength. Upward facing, keep the belly drawn in. And downward facing. Okay. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step the foot between the hands, exhale. Let's come to a warrior two. So we're going to ground the back foot, heel to arch alignment this time, and come up and around to your warrior two. Okay. So again, pressing into the pinky edges of the feet slightly so that you've got that lift up through the arches. And we sink down into the hips there. You do want the heart lifted, but not so much that you lose your center. Sensing a theme here. All right, and then take your side angle, elbow to knee, top arm up and over. Good, come back up. Reverse your warrior, flip that front palm up. And then cartwheel the hands to frame that front foot. Good. Stepping back, plank. Elbows in. Upward facing. Downward facing. And left leg, reach up. Step the foot between the hands. Ground that back foot, heel to arch. Right arm leads you up and around. You want that front knee to point straight forward over the toes. So big outer spiral there. And with that, you've got that lift through the pelvic floor. And then elbow to knee for your modified side angle, but stay strong in your core. Come back up, flip the front palm, reverse, and then framing the front foot with your hands, step to plank, elbows in, upward facing, downward facing. Right leg to the sky again, coming right away into another standing pose. Right foot between the hands. Let's come to a high crescent. So you're on the ball of the back foot now. The back knee points down. And I'd like you to bend the back knee for a moment. And let's show it this way. With that bend in the back knee, you'll be able to find that drawing in of the belly a little bit better. So feel that here, tailbone drops. See if you can keep that, but re-extend the back leg straight. And you should really feel that in the hip flexor. Now take arms over the head for crescent. Bring your hands to your heart, turn and twist the left elbow to the right knee. And now I want you to press that top hand into the bottom hand, going for the twist, but don't let the left hip drop. Keep the left hip hovering up away from the ground. Okay, right hip crease draws back. So you've got a lot of strength in the core and the lower body here. Find a long neck, shoulders away from the ears. Big breath. And then strong legs, bring the hands to frame the front foot. Now a variation on the vinyasa, you can step the right foot back and float it up. And here we have an inner spiral. So the inseam is lifting more than the outer hip. Okay, and then staying with that as you bring the elbows right into the ribs, chaturanga, both feet come to the floor for your upward facing. And then downward facing. Okay, one more side. Taking the left leg up, inhale, step the foot between the hands. You're staying on the ball of the back foot, rise up. Find hips are really square to the front of the room. Okay, bend the back knee. It should point straight down and not out to the side. And with that slack that you've just put in the hip flexor, you can draw the hip points in and up a little more. Find a strong core. Keeping that, re-extend the back leg. Feel that hip flexor stretch. Okay, and then arms sweeping forward and up overhead. Good. Okay, and then bringing hands to heart, turn and twist. Right elbow to left knee. Okay, notice the tendency for that right hip to sink down because you want to get your chest over to that thumb, right? So it's all this balance, it's all this kind of these opposing actions that we want to find just the right measure of. So back leg floats up, but then keep your left hip crease drawn back. You still want to keep the hips square. From that stability, that disciplined lower body, then can you press the top hand down into the bottom hand and find ease in the breath, ease in the neck. And I find that's really the trick, is to find all of that strength in your center without tensing up in the neck and the jaw. All right, and then strong, strong core, hands frame the front foot. Here's that one-legged plank again. Float the left leg up and back, inseam lifts. Okay, a lot of glute there. Elbows in, one-legged plank, one-legged chaturanga, both feet to the floor for your up dog, and downward facing dog. Okay, bend knees, look between the hands, step or hop, feet to the hands, and fold forward. Long, deep breaths. All right, now bending your knees, rise up to stand, inhaling as you come up, and bring your hands to your heart. All right, so now we're going to stand onto our right foot and grab the left ankle, so balancing, quad stretch. And once more, we're going to be finding that recipe between the belly in and then the knee pointing straight down. So if you find that when you put your knee down, then you arch your back, then I'm going to try to find that drop of the tailbone, really press down into your standing leg, strong through your belly. Okay. Now reach your right arm up, and we're going to start to kick straight back, kick straight back, kick straight back for dancer's pose. And we want less of the curve in the lower back, more in the upper back. So drop the shoulder blades, lift the heart, come back upright, and let it go. Okay, one more side. Standing on the left foot, grab that right ankle now. All right, and then keep the low belly drawing in and up. Tailbone dropping, push into that standing leg. And with all of that stability, can you point the right knee straight down? Okay, left arm reaches up, and then kick straight back. Reaching forward. Keep your breath, lift your heart without losing your core. And then back upright on an inhale and let it go. All right, let's flow again. Hands to the heart. Inhale, arms over the head. Exhaling, fold it forward. Okay, let's step back to our plank, and now we're going to come into Vashisthasana, or side plank, so the big toes come together, and we're going to roll open onto the outer edge of that right foot, and then come on up into your Vashisthasana. So I want you to keep the tailbone reaching towards the heels. Good. And now from here, that top foot, you're going to bring the ball of the foot to the floor just behind you, and then see if you can get the right foot all the way to the floor as you lift the hips up and go for Wild Thing. The free arm, the left arm, goes back by your ear. Okay. And you're on the ball of the back foot, which should make it easier for you to take that tailbone into the body. All right, and then releasing that plank vinyasa, elbows in, upward facing, downward facing. Good. And then plank pose, side two, so big toes together. Left hand under the nose, roll open, Vashisthasana side plank. Feel the tailbone reaching towards the heels here. Draw your ribs away from your view. If you would look down and bring the hips a little forward. Yeah, and then top foot comes behind you, ball of the foot. And we try to bring the sole of the left foot to the ground. We're lifting up. Okay, reach the free arm long by the ear. Tailbone drawing in and up. We want more of the opening really at the shoulders rather than splaying the ribs. And then release. Plank. Elbows in chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. If you need a rest, take child's pose. Otherwise, staying in down dog. Finding your breath. Bend the knees, look between the hips, step or hop, feet to hands, flat back, and fold. And hold the backs of the calves and draw in a little deeper for this forward fold. And then bend the knees on your way up to stand. Hands to the heart. All right, coming to a revolved triangle. So now we're going to come through the outer hips a little more. Nice stretch. Right foot forward, left foot back, and this is a somewhat shorter stance, maybe about 3 or 4 feet. We want to turn the hip points to face straight forward, lengthen up through the waist, and then tipping forward from the hips. Your hands can rest on the shin if you happen to have blocks at home, using blocks on your hands, or maybe you can reach the fingertips to the floor. Long, deep breathing, squaring up the hips. And then let's plant the left hand down and bring the right arm up, or you can simply rest the right hand on the hip and turn the chest to the right. If you are taking that top arm up, make sure the shoulder blades are drawing down onto the back and you're keeping a little bit of abdominals. Front ribs don't splay out, they draw together. And releasing that top hand down. Let's take the back foot forward, right foot back. Turn this way. And hands on the shin is a nice option if you're tighter in the hamstrings, because then you can keep a nice long spine there. Fingertips to the floor if you can. And you know, it's all right if you need to bend that front knee, but we are moving towards straight legs. Okay. Keep working on those square hips here. Oh, the sun's coming out. And then planting the left hand down, bring the right hand to the hips, or I guess it'll be the opposite one because I was mirroring you, sorry. Turning towards that front leg. Top arm goes up. Press into that bottom hand. And remember, you can simply rest the hand on the hip if that's enough twist for you. But if you can, that top shoulder blade going back. And let's release the top hand down. Step your back foot forward. Bend the knees a little and come up to stand. Good, hands to the heart. All right, so I want to make sure that we know square hips here in the inner spiral of the thigh. So we're actually going to come down to kneeling briefly here, and hands and knees. And we'll bring that right leg back behind us. And just notice how the outer hip wants to hike up. So drop the outer hip down, flex the foot, and bring your toes to point straight down at the floor. So the inner thigh lifts quite a lot. All right, and then I want you to really feel that your front ribs are drawing in. And you keep that as you bring the back of the heel towards the ceiling, so you should really feel that as a glute engagement. Do a few little pulses there. Lift, lift, lift. And the idea is that you're not bobbing the hip up and down, but you're just lifting the thigh. So a lot of glute strength there. Inner thigh lifts and release it back down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. The left leg goes back, and now drop the outer hip down, lift the inner thigh up, foot is flexed, toes point straight down at the ground. Okay, and then notice if you're splaying your ribs at all. Draw them in. And the leg may have lowered when you drew your ribs in, right? So now using just the glute, not the tilt of the pelvis, lift, 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 and try to keep the kneecap pointing down at the floor. So inner thigh lifts more than outer thigh. Little booty burn, and then let it go. All right, let's make our way back to standing. Hands to heart. And the next little exercise we'll do is the eagle pose, and we'll try to transition from eagle into a variation of warrior three. So let's start with the arms. So we're going to bring the left under right. So if I'm mirroring you here, left under right for eagle. And then sitting back into your chair pose. Knees behind the toes. Okay. All right, and then bringing your weight over onto your right foot. And we'll bring the left thigh up and over, squeezing inner thighs together. If you can, tuck the left toes behind the right calf. We drag the left hip crease back. All right, and then find that drop of the tailbone, find the knitting together of the ribs here. Good, now we're going to unwind the legs and stretch the left leg straight back behind you in that internally rotated position. So we're in the warrior three variation here. Inner thigh lifts more than outer thigh. Good. Come back upright. Release the arms. Draw the knee into the chest. Stretch arms up over the head. If you want a little extra, extend that front leg straight. And then by drawing the ribs together, hollowing out the front body, lift the toes a little more. And release the hands to the heart. Good. Second side. Arms over the head. And then we'll take, it should be right under left for the second side. Sit back into your chair. Just breathing. Notice if you're sweeping your tail back too much, and draw that tailbone under so you're strong in your core. Shift your weight into your left foot. Take the right thigh up and over. Maybe you can tuck the right toes behind the left calf. Keep the knee over the ankle. Okay, good. And then we're going to unwind just the legs and stretch the right leg back. And we're trying to hinge the chest down as the leg comes up so that that line from the back foot to the top of the head is moving towards parallel with the ground. So inner spiral that back thigh. Keep your core strong. Nice. And then unwind, coming upright. Draw the knee right into the chest. Unwind the arms so you can bring the arms up over the head. Either stay here pushing into the standing leg or extend that front leg if you can, and then knit the ribs together, lift the toes a little more, and releasing, hands to heart. Well done. All right, so let's bring ourselves back into this chair pose again. So we're going to be sitting back with the toes, the knees behind the toes, and just sit really low. And then come on back up. Now we're going to do that same thing with the left ankle crossed over the right thigh. Flexing the foot, sitting back. Really sit the hips back this time. Don't worry quite as much about that tucking of the tail. You can just really allow the hips to reach back and stretch the arms forward as a counterweight. Neck and jaw are soft. Okay, and then here's a challenge. Bring the hands to the heart, and we're going to see if we can bring the left elbow into the left foot. Turning. Keep present in that standing leg. See if you can unwind, coming back to center. A lot of control there, reaching arms long. And then release both feet to the floor. Okay, if that bothers your knee at all, doing poses like that, then make sure that you really build the habit of keeping the foot really flexed. Let's try it on the other side. So right foot flexed, outer ankle onto the lap there, and then reach forward, sit the hips back. So you're quite a bit off vertical here. You're really reaching the hips back and the arms forward. And yes, you keep a little bit of that core, but I'm less concerned with the rounding here and more for that hip stretch. How can we stay strong and centered while creating a release in the body? Okay, and then our challenge is to bring the hands to the heart and then the right elbow to the right foot. See if you can come back slow and bring the feet to the floor. All right, separate the feet out a little wider than hip width, feet turned out, and we're going to sit down into Malasana, Yogi Squat. Bringing the palms again to the heart center and just very gently pressing the knees apart with the elbows. Lifting the breastbone up towards the thumbs. Those of you who want to play with the crow pose, go ahead and do that. I'm not going to cue for that one in this class, maybe in a soon one. But for today, we'll actually go for a twist, this open twist. So the left hand is going to come to the floor with the shoulder on the inside of the knee, And then sweep back with that right arm, dropping the hips down. And then optionally, you can go for a bind. So the shoulder needs to kind of be in front of the shin there in order to get that bind. So the left arm comes around under the shin, and then the right arm comes around your back. So you're bound around your torso and your left leg, thigh and shin. One more side, taking that right arm inside the leg there, sweep back. This might be where you stay. By the way, if all of this is too much, you can sit in Baddha Konasana, fold forward. And then perhaps taking that right arm from underneath, finding your bind. And then gently let it go. Everybody coming down for Malasana, sitting, or Baddha Konasana, sitting on your hips, draw your heels in, just lift the chest. All right, now let's take the legs out wide and flex the feet so that the toes point straight up. You want to try to have your kneecaps pointing straight up. And we'll take a side stretch, reaching up and over. Back upright, let's do the other side. Back up now, classic forward fold with both feet straight out in front of you, lifting up tall. And then fold forward. So if you have a towel or something that you can use to clasp around your feet, you can do that if you're not able to hold the toes and draw the toes back. Hands can be on the floor. The nice thing about drawing the toes back is that you get an extra calf stretch. We'll take one more breath there in the forward fold. And then gently let that go. All right, so from here, let's come onto our back, and we'll take bridge. So, soles of the feet on the floor, toes pointing forward, and we want to press down into the feet, feel the tailbone scoop up first, and lift the hips up. Just take a moment here, pressing into your footprints, tailbone reaching towards the backs of the knees, and then lower back down. You come up again, and this time interlace the hands under your back, walk the shoulders in, pressing down into the shoulders and the feet. Knees stay hip width apart. And then walk the shoulders out and roll down. All right, let's come into a figure four again. The outer left ankle comes to the top of the right thigh. And then lifting the right foot up, interlace your hands around the back of the thigh. And drawing in for your figure four. Now feel free to stay right here, or we can go for a different variation. This one's sometimes called sleeping pigeon, but sleeping pigeon is also sometimes another thing, so I'm not sure what it's called, but we're going to lift up into like an abdominal crunch. We're going to hold that left shin with our hands, letting the left leg go out long. That'll be the right leg. Sorry, I was mirroring you. Okay, and then we're going to hook underneath the lower leg that's close to the chest with our elbows, bringing the hands to a prayer position, and then using that hollowed out front body ribs together, we're going to see if we can bring the thumb tips to the third eye, and then letting that free leg reach forward and down. Walking your hands back to the shin, replace the foot on the floor and lower your head back down, both feet to the floor. Right. Now crossing the outer right ankle onto the top of the left thigh, flexing the foot, hold the back of the left thigh and draw in, either staying here for your release, easy stretch there, or lifting up into an abdominal crunch. Head, neck, and shoulders off the floor. Hold the right shin, extend the left leg long, and then we're trying to hook both elbows underneath the lower leg. So one is kind of in the knee pit, the other one's at the ankle. Palms together. Thumb tips move towards the third eye. And then the left leg reaches forward and down. And as that bottom leg leverages you down, you'll feel more stretch in the hip. Walking your hands back to the shin. Both feet come to the floor, head rests down. Take a moment. And then just hug your knees into your chest. And you can rock side to side a little bit. Nice easy twist. Drop the knees to the left. Just letting gravity do the work. We're starting to cool off, starting to relax. Roll the hips to center, drop the knees over to the second side. Just releasing into that twist. Come on back to center. Just float the legs straight up towards the ceiling for a moment. If you prefer to take a shoulder stand, you can do that, but if there's any neck trouble at all, don't bother with the shoulder stand. If your neck feels pretty healthy and you want to go for it, then lifting the hips up off the ground, the toes will move towards the floor up over your head. Interlace the hands under your back and walk your elbows in. Now, if you're not sure what to do with this one, please do not turn to the side, try to look at the video. Instead, come on down, pause the video, and watch first. Okay, and then check it out here in your plow pose, whether the back of your neck is flat against the floor. And if it is, then do your best to actually lift the chin away from the chest a little bit so that you have a natural cervical curve. Just like a peak of light underneath the nape of the neck there. And if that feels safe, if that feels like you can progress and you can keep that curve, then bring the hips into the hands, and you can stay here piked. So it's a half shoulder stand, or you can walk your hands towards your upper back and extend the legs towards the ceiling. The weight should be in the shoulders and the upper arms more than the head. Coming back through plow, toes come up towards the floor up over your head, release the arms, and roll slowly down the spine, upper back, lower back, and the feet can come to the ground. Turn your palms to face up, and then just gently rock your head side to side. From here, we'll come into Shavasana. So relaxation, stretch the legs out long. Turn your palms to face up. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And let it out. So I invite you to stay here and rest for as long as you like. You can practice a body scan, feeling your body part by part, just cueing each part of your body to let go. And you can also practice a kind of wide angle attention, feeling the whole body all at once. Allowing the breath to be soft and easy. And take your time, but when you are ready, wake the body up gently with your breath. Gentle movement first, so that you can transition mindfully into the rest of your day. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.